We're going to talk about what has happened in Ukraine on this day of the Russian invasion. We'll examine the actions and the strategies, both military and political. Now, if this is your first time watching, my name is Darren Gertis. I'm a professor who's built multiple leadership programs at Charleston Southern University. So we'll also view these events through the lens of leadership. And I also wrote a book about Zelensky called I Need Ammunition, Not a Ride, and you can find it on Amazon. Okay, it is Sunday, June 19th, day 116. The Russians and Ukrainians are shelling the crap out of each other. And so little has changed in Severodonetsk. I saw this video on, I watch this almost obsessively. My wife is telling me like, you're paying a little bit too much attention here. So I watched this video on YouTube. It was a CNN clip. David Petraeus, a former commander of Allied forces in Afghanistan and Iraq, former CIA director, told CNN, quote, "The Russians are losing more in a single day, every single day on average, than we lost in all U.S. coalition forces in the worst month of the surge in Iraq." And the Ukrainian casualties are very high as well. So it's a bloodbath. It's very consequential what's going on. At the same time, The Atlantic put out an article today that the Russians are just using the same playbook that they used in Chechnya. Now, that might not mean a lot to most Americans because most Americans weren't really paying attention to what was going on in Chechnya, but it was the same kind of bloodbath. Like, all the Russians would just go into the city and absolutely destroy it. The capital of Chechnya, it's Gronsky. Most people can't even find that on a map. Was assessed, quote, assessed by the United Nations as the most destroyed city on earth after the Russian-Chechen War. And then what they would do is after the conquest, they'd put in these puppet governors, and then these puppet governors would re-educate the people on what just happened. Like, what you think happened didn't really happen. They said, the article went on and said, quote, "The traumatized citizens will be taught a new version of their own history, one in which their absorption into the Russian vassaldom was entirely voluntary, and in fact a salvation from radicals and terrorists who had sought to destroy them, even though they knew better." And we're already seeing movement toward this kind of integration in Ukraine and the occupied territories, where they're issuing passports and hiring only Russian teachers and will only be teaching in Russian schools and that kind of thing, or Russian language in the schools, and so on and so forth. In his daily speech today, Zelensky said, quote, "There are many congratulations in our country today. June 19th is Medical Workers' Day, Father's Day, and Farmers' Day." Now, that's an odd combination, but he went on to use those special occasions to thank those to whom thanks was due, to medical workers, to farmers. And he talked about to the doctors who gave people more birthdays. What a great way of using his words. They said Churchill deployed the English language in war, and so has Zelensky. He's done a great job with this. To doctors who gave people more birthdays, to farmers, the tractor troops who sowed fields in the middle of the war and took Russian prizes in the fields. And this was a big thing, especially early on in the war. And then, quote, to fathers who, again, I'm quoting, quote, "raise their children as good, decent, brave people who defend the state and do everything to help their neighbors live through the war." He just did a great job using those three occasions to highlight things that ought to be highlighted. Now, on the other side, in Russia, RT was reporting this, quote, "Russia's military says it has killed more than 50 top Ukrainian officers, including generals, in a cruise missile strike on a key command post." Okay, now if that is true, the details will come out. I highly doubt that it has come out, or that it is true, but it's not. It's something that's too big to hide. So it'll be known if that actually is true. But when the Russians kind of make up propaganda pieces like this, it makes everything that they say suspect. So, for example, today also we see that the Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov said, quote, "The offensive in the Severodonetsk direction is developing successfully." Well, we know it's not. I mean, I mean, unless you count taking a few more meters as successful development, we know that that's not actually true. So now you can't really rely on it, and it's hard to separate truth from propaganda. Radio Free Europe put out a fascinating article that was talking about how more than 15,000 Russians have been detained for anti-war sentiments since February 24th. Some of them are quite minor, like putting a caption on a photograph. But the most unique one I saw here in this article was now, again, remember, Russia has this media blackout where anything that is not the state perspective of what's going on is illegal. And so last week, a St. Petersburg court ordered that a local artist and activist who attend a psychiatric clinic for a court mandated evaluation. This was punishment. I can't pronounce the person's name, for someone who had secretly replaced supermarket price tags with details about the Ukraine war. One of the tags, which she placed at the bottom of a glue stick in the shop, read, quote, "Weekly inflation has now reached a new high not seen since 1998 as a result of our military actions in Ukraine. Stop the war." So she's ordered for a psych evaluation for what in the West we would consider a prank as an anti-war protest. That's where the Russians are. Okay, last thing, Pope Francis asked us in his it's Sunday, so it was his daily or weekly address, and he asked us not to forget the quote battered Ukrainian people at this time, a people that is suffering. I would like to invite you to all ask yourselves a question. What am I doing today for the Ukrainian people? Well, I know what I'm doing. I'm trying to present this news, make it available, make it so that you are updated. And what you do with it, well, the ball's in your court. Thanks for listening. Hey, if this video was helpful, hit like to help others find it in YouTube's algorithm. Subscribe so that you can stay informed. And one more thing, if you are moved to contribute to the humanitarian aid for Ukraine, I have a link below for Samaritan's Purse. If you want to give, be sure to give only to reputable organizations. There's a lot of scammers out there. Thanks for your time.